Okay. Good morning, everyone. We are discussing about the data management tools. Okay. And yesterday we have seen there are four data management tools generally we use for the data operations. That is nothing but the data import and data export operations. And also we have seen what is data import and what is data export. Okay. Loading a data into Salesforce, we call it as a data import. Extracting data out of Salesforce, we call it as a data export. Okay. Data import, we can use multiple tools to do this. So one of them are data import wizard, Salesforce inspector, and data loader. Okay. These are the main three tools that we can use for the data import using um, using data import wizard, Salesforce inspector, and data loader tools. We can do data import and data export. We can do using data export, Salesforce inspector, and data loader. Mainly, where is the scenario that we use? Mainly, a data loader is migration projects are the one you have to use 60% of the data operations because you need to export the data from your old arc and you need to import it into your new arcs. Okay, so today we will go through one by one tool how it works. Okay, let's start with the data import wizard. Okay, our first tool is the data import wizard. How can you access this? So data import wizard is the inbuilt Salesforce application. Okay, it's a inbuilt Salesforce application. So generally we use two keywords. One is inbuilt or out of the box. Okay, these are the two keywords generally you listen when you are attending or when somebody is answering question. Is it the inbuilt tool or is it the external tool? Okay, so this is the inbuilt tool. So that means within Salesforce sandbox or within Salesforce production sandbox, we can access this data import wizard. So out of the box is also something the keyword generally we use, whatever the functionalities that generally inside the Salesforce, we call it as a out of the box, inbuilt or out of the box. Okay, so data import wizard is also one of the inbuilt application. Okay, how can you access this data import wizard? We can access the data import wizard using setup and then you can just simply type for data import wizard. Okay, let me just log into my arc and will show you how it looks like. Okay, we are in setup. So we can search for data import wizard. Okay. When you click on this data import wizard, it says report importing jobs. That means whenever you perform some import operation, you will see the record here. Like what is the status of that import job, that thing. Okay. if you scroll down, if you want to do your data import, okay, first there are four steps. First, we need to prepare your data for import. That means we can import either Excel files or CSV files. Okay, so we need to prepare our Excel file. We need to prepare our data and then choose data to import, field mapping, and start importing. These are the four steps generally we do. Okay, so let's click on Launch Wizard. So when we click on the Launch wizard, first it will start with the first step. That means choose data. So that means for which object you want to import it. Okay. So I want to import the opportunities object. So opportunities is obviously a standard object. So I can go to the standard object and I can search for the opportunities object. Okay. Then I'm not able to see opportunities object here. So what I can do, what is my next thing? I would like to import the opportunities, but I don't see the opportunities object here. Okay. That is one of the drawback of data import wizard, guys. Data import wizard always supports only these five standard objects: accounts, contacts, leads, solutions, campaign members. Okay. Using data import wizard, you can perform the import operation only for these five objects. Okay. Whereas custom objects, you can select each and every custom object. Okay, there is no limitation that you can't select this custom object, that custom object, nothing. So you can extract all the custom objects, but coming to the standard objects, we can import data for only five standard objects. Okay. That's the reason why we have multiple tools, like already data import wizard is already there, right? Why we need other two tools, Salesforce inspector for import operation or another data loader for import operation, because of these limitations. Okay, limitations of, instead of dealing with the limitations, first let me tell. So steps to data import wizard steps. Okay, the first step is preparing the data. Okay. And the second step is, if I just go back, first preparing your data and choose data to import, field mapping, and start importing. Okay. Choose data to import, field mapping, and start import. Okay, these are the four steps. So as part of the preparing the data, preparing CSV or Excel file and choose data to import is something selecting object name. Okay. And field mapping is something mapping object fields. And start import we do start import process. Okay, these are the four actions that we will do as part of the data import wizard steps. First, we will prepare the data in Excel or CSV files and then choose data to import field mapping, and start import. This is the basic 4 steps that we do for the import operation, not only for the data import wizard, guys, for all the things. Even it is the data loader or data inspector. For all the things, if we want to import the data, these are the 4 steps we always follow. These four steps are common in, okay, the above 4 steps are same. The above 4 steps are same for all import wizards, like all types, all, all import operations which we do with different tools, which we do with different tools, like different other tools, I can say, like data, Salesforce inspector, and data loader. Okay. So preparing the data, choosing the object, field mapping, and the start import process. So this is same in Salesforce inspector and data loader. Then the immediately question, then why do we need separate tools? Separate tools. Then why do we need separate tools for import? That is our question. Okay. Data import wizard has some limitations. Okay. To overcome those limitations, we use other tools like Salesforce Inspector or Data Loader. Okay. Then immediately the question which comes is, what are the limitations of data import wizard? Okay. First limitation that we talk is it supports import operation for only 5 standard objects. Okay. Accounts, contacts, leads, solutions, and campaign members. If we want to upload, if we want to import data for any other standard objects like contacts, chases, products, like whatever the other standard objects, if we want to import, we can't use this import wizard. Okay. That is our first limitation. Okay. And the second limitation of the import wizard is using this data import wizard. For example, let's select some of the accounts. Okay. You can add new records and you can update existing records. Okay. Or add new and update existing records. That means you can create the new records or you can edit some records or you can do the combination. You can create the records and edit the records. Some records you can create, some records you can edit. But there is no way that you can delete the records using this data import wizard. Okay. Using this data import wizard, if you want to delete some records in Salesforce, that is not possible. That is the second limitation. Okay. So using data import wizard, if we want to delete the records, it's not possible. Okay. Let me just open up the inspector side by side. Okay. So that we can compare the limitations, guys. Salesforce Inspector is something, it looks like this. It's just a small icon you will see in your right side. I'll tell you how to see this inspector also. So this is the data import operation. We can click on it. And here if you see, the first thing is, here you can perform four operations. First is insert. That is, you can create it. And update. That means you can update the existing records. Upsert. That is nothing but the third operation. Like in the data import wizard, we have add new and update existing records. That means it will just check for that record. If it is available, then it will just update. Otherwise, if it doesn't available, then it will create it. That operation we call it as a upsert operation. That means first it will try to update it. If it finds the record, if it doesn't find the record, then it will create it. Okay, that is nothing but the upsert operation. And we can also perform delete operations using data import. Here we can delete. Okay, but whereas using data import wizard, you can't do that thing. Okay, there is no operation that you can select for deletion. That is your second limitation. And coming to the first limitation, and whenever we try to see the object insert operation, if I try for the opportunity, I can do it. Okay. If I want to do it for the cases, okay, I can select it. Like all standard objects are available for the import operation. Okay. But whereas in data import wizard, we don't have those standard. Okay. We don't have those standard objects. It supports only five objects and three operations only it supports. Insert, update, subsert. Delete operation, it is not supporting. That is our second difference. Okay. Using data import wizard, if we want to delete the records, it's not possible. Okay. That is our second difference. And third difference. Third difference is something like that you can execute, it's like number of records, you can import any number of records and you can execute, you can divide that into different batches. Okay, batch size you can configure it, guys, here. Okay, the format it supports CSV and Excel. Okay, that is same even in the data import wizard, it will ask you to support CSV as well as it support. Okay, this is another difference. Okay, here it is supporting only CSV files. Either it is basically we use standard CSV only, guys, always, but it is supporting only CSV type of files. But whereas in data import wizard, it supports Excel also, Excel and CSV. Okay, coming to the Excel and CSV, it's not the major difference, guys. Let me open up one file and just prepare the file for you. Okay. Okay. We are just opening up an Excel sheet, guys. Okay. I'm just preparing some accounts data. Okay. Account name, number, type. Okay. And make it as a status also. Name, some ABC account, type is business, status is prospect. Okay. I mean, this is how first we need to prepare our data. That is our first step. Okay, we need to have data in our hand. Okay. Let us assume these are the different types of account. Prospect account is something like that. This is the account which we are expecting to do business in the future. Okay. And customer status, generally we use the customers which are in active status. Okay. Former customers are something like that, which are in inactive customers, but there was a business happened previously. Cancel is something like that. Accounts that were created by default, or we initially felt them as the prospect, but they haven't done any business with us. They just cancel without doing any business. In such cases, we will just make them as the cancelled. Okay. Let us assume you have this type of accounts data and you would like to import this data into the Salesforce. So we will just see how you can import this data using data import wizard. It's accounts and contacts. So we are going to add new records. Okay. In case of update, you need to select match by, guys. Okay. For insert operation, it's not required. In case of update, you have to select one ID. To identify, you need to update this data in this record. Okay. And then CSV is something which are expecting. So this is kind of just a data, and CSV files are nothing but it looks exactly same as the Excel files. So you can just save as. Here you can download as it gives you an option XLS or comma separated values. The only difference, guys, CSV files you can open and see it in the notepad also. Okay. Excel files, that is not possible. When from the Excel point of view, when you open up CSV, it looks the same way. When you open up the XLS files, it looks the same way. There is no difference when you open up some CSV file in Excel. Okay. But the advantage of CSV file is if you don't have the Excel files, still if you want to see the data, that is possible. You can see using the Notepad++ or Notepad. Okay, so this is something I have saved in CSV file, and I'm also downloading it as a Excel also. Okay, there are two things in my downloads. One is in Excel list and another one is CSV. So in the data import wizard, there's no way that you can export the Excel. You have to select the CSV file. So we are going to download a file as the CSV, and then we are going to select the file, clicking on next. Okay, then immediately it will ask you the mapping. This is the mapping screen. Okay, this is our third step. First step is we have prepared the Excel file. Second step is we have chosen the operation and the object, and the third step is we are mapping the fields. Okay. So here basically it's accounts and contacts, right? It is mapping the two fields and it is displaying like a warning message. So that means we need to we need to map it as a correct field. Depending on the column names that you give, guys, automatically it will map few fields. Okay. Whatever the possible mappings that tool can do, it will map it automatically. All other cases, it will just say unmapped and we need to map manually. And this is the problem with the data import wizard. You just need to reduce your window size to 90%. Then you can see all the buttons. Okay, here you can simply click on map. After that third field, it doesn't able to find out number what to map. So you can search for account number field and you can select that field and click on map. And also status, it couldn't able to map any field. Okay, so let me just open up duplicate. Let me open up any of the account record ones. If I go to the details, type we have mapped. Okay. Basically, it does not have any status field that I am expecting, guys. Okay. That says about whether it is the customer or prospect or anything else. So what we can do is we can go to this particular object. Basically, type is something which has whether it is a prospect, direct customer, or installation. This is here, it's something. So we can create a new field status. I'm just creating a new field quickly. Okay, I'll enter the values. This is prospect status or customer, former customer are cancelled. And then I have selected the restrict pick list value because I don't want to allow any other values to this field except these four values. Okay. And clicked on save. Clicked on next. Yeah, I'm making this visible for all the profile. Clicking on next. Adding to account page. Clicking on next and save. Okay. Now I'm going to data import widget. Let me refresh it one more time so that my newly created field also will come. I'll launch the widget. Okay, accounts and contacts. I want to add new records. I'm going to select a file and clicking on next. You just need to go to previous. So automatically we are going to map it as an account name, map, okay, and then number. I mean, status is all automatically mapped, guys, because in the Excel, in the CSV file, the header column which I have given is same status, and the field name also same, right? Status. Wherever it matches, right, then automatically it will map directly. If it doesn't map, that is the case, it displays unmapped, and we need to map them manually. So this is the account number and map. Okay, and click on next. So it says all four fields are mapped. We can start importing. Okay, before starting importing, we'll just see how many accounts we have in our org. Okay, when we click on this account tab, this is, I'm clicking on all accounts. I can see 17 items, guys. Okay, we have 17 accounts in our org. Okay, now let me go ahead and click on start import. This means we are starting importing process. So congratulations, click OK to view your import status on the bulk data job. Okay, clicking on OK. So it will just display the status of our job, guys. Okay. The records process is 4. The records failed is 0. In case if your record has any problem, that means we have many validation rules and you haven't given data that satisfies all the validation rules. Then it will obviously fail your record to load, right? Such cases also you will see it here. And view result is the one which gives you, I mean, another CSV file. Here it shows the job status created. In case of any errors, you will display the error message here. Under the error column, it will display the error message. What is the problem? And created will become false and it will just display the error message saying that what is the reason that it wasn't able to create the things. Okay. So this is how. Now let me just refresh the accounts page. We will see 21 records. Okay. See 21 items. All the accounts are present. ABC, MNO, PQR. And if you see, guys, whenever I am creating the account, sometimes billing state is the mandatory one. But whenever I am trying to create with APIs, I mean data import wizard or something like that, that is some tools. whatever the validation, I mean page level mandatory restriction, page layout level mandatory restriction is not applied. Okay, page level mandatory restriction, I'm sorry guys, page level mandatory restriction applies only when you create a records from that particular pages. Okay, in case if you have any mandatory conditions here, it will apply only when you create records from this page. That's it. But validations are field level required, always applies. Okay. So I'm going to give you a small pause here, guys. Any question on data import process? So the third difference is data import wizard supports only CSV files. Whereas other tools supports both CSV and Excel. Okay. So it is not that much difficult concept to understand, guys. It's CG only. You just need to prepare some data and map it, configure it, start import process. Okay. But very, very, very important. This is very helpful to you, both data import and data export wizards. And we will not use this tool, guys. So truly, I'll never use this tool. Okay. I always use this inspector only. This inspector plugin only. This is just a Chrome plugin. When you can go to Chrome and search for Salesforce inspector. Okay. Salesforce inspector. Here, right now I have already enabled it. So it is showing remove from Chrome. But if you haven't enabled it, it will just show add Chrome. When you click on add Chrome, and after that you can just log out and log into your Arc. Obviously, you will see this icon on your right side. Okay. And whenever you click on that, you can perform your data export and data import operations. Okay, let's see how to load these four records using the data import wizard. Okay, so it's the same thing. We are going to select the operation and the object is account. So here already we have Excel format, right? Here you just need to copy paste the data, guys. Okay, this is the Excel format, right? You have to select all your data. Okay, you just make it here. Okay, obviously, whenever you are copy pasted here, you can see all the records here. What is the number of records? How many number of records that you are trying to format? Okay, and this is the where we need to do the mapping. It is not able to identify number as well as the status field. Because status field it couldn't able to identify because I haven't refreshed this one. Okay, I just refreshed this one so that all my database gets one. Okay, still it is not able to identify the status field. That's fine, we will map it. So here we can search for fields, then we can map that thing. Then status field, we can map status field. So there is something like underscore underscore status is something that you are displaying. Whenever you are going to some field, it displays some underscore underscore that particular field. That is something like that we will use whenever we don't want to map this column to any columns. Okay. To that means it has 20 columns and two columns I would like to ignore at the time of loading the data. That is the time we will just give double underscore before that column. Whenever you give double underscore before that column, then it will not just bother about that mapping at all. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't give the double underscore before the column, you have to map it with correct field. Okay. So the correct field here is this one. Okay. 1 second, guys. Just give me a second. Sorry everyone. Okay, this is how we have to map the field name correctly. And we don't, if we don't want, if we want to ignore that particular field, we can give double underscore. Then also it will not give any error. But the thing is, whatever the data that you present here, it will not load into your system. Okay. So I have just mapped it correctly. This is how we have to do the mapping, and then we just need to click on import. So basically the operations that we are doing is same. Okay, this is just we are doing in single screen, and in the data import wizard we are doing in step by step. But ultimately we are following only 4 steps: selecting the object and operation, and then preparing the data, mapping the field, starting the process. Okay. Let's click on import process. Actually, it's created. In case of any errors, you will be seeing it here itself. Okay. Like here, compared to the data import wizard, here you can filter out the things in case of failures. Right now it's 0 failed. Okay. You can easily filter out and you can see it. A little bit of more user friendly thing is the Salesforce inspector. Okay, and apart from that, data import wizard has some limitations, and data Salesforce inspector is a advanced version of the data import wizard. That's the reason we always use the data import wizard, and it's the plugin which supports all the, like, there is no restriction on this plugin, guys. You can use it. This is the official Salesforce plugin, so each and everywhere we can use this plugin. Okay, so in any worst case situations that you are having the problem or troubling to install these plugins, or in case your system has any problem that you are not able to access these plugin, that is the worst case situation. You can go and use data import wizard. Okay, But the problem with the data import wizard is obviously even the worst case situations also, these are the limitations. You can't override these limits. Okay. If your inspector is not working and if you get a request to load the opportunity, then nothing else. You have to depend on others in those systems where the Salesforce inspector is working. Okay. And you have the data loader, guys. Okay. Using the Salesforce inspector, the only difference between the data loader and Salesforce inspector is, oh, let me show you how a data loader looks like. But this is also something we are not at all using nowadays. I don't have in my system because we never use it. But if you read some documents or somewhere else, they mention this data loader concept also. It's also exactly the same operations that it can do. So Salesforce Inspector is the one which is the advanced version, guys, compared to the data loader and data import, which are we always use Salesforce Inspector. Yeah, Salesforce data loader looks like this. Okay. So using this, you can do insert, update, upsert, delete, okay, export and export all. Okay. So here simply they divided operations into two things, data import and data export. So export and export all buttons are related to this data export operation, guys. And these four actions, insert, update, delete, insert, update, upsert, delete. Okay. These are the things is related to the first four operations. Okay. The only difference between the data inspector and the data loader is you will be having, sorry, here data loader is you will be having hard delete operation. Okay. And this button will get enabled only if you are the system administrator profile. You have to log into this data loader. Whenever you click on data loader, it will ask you to log in by providing the username and password. This is just a third party tool kind of thing to the Salesforce. Nowadays, nobody is using the data loader, guys, because hard delete is something like that. When you delete something, those records will not be restored at any point of time. That's the reason we never and ever give hard delete permission to none of the users. Even Salesforce admins are not supposed to use hard delete operation. Hard delete is something like that. We are deleting the record data and those cannot be restored. And delete is something, if you delete some records, still they are present in your recycle bin. Okay. There is a concept of recycle bin. From the app launcher, you can access it. Whenever you delete any records, so 15 days of time, it will store in the recycle bin. So you can see your records that is deleted by your own, or org recycle bin will store the records which are deleted by all the users which are present in this org. So at least you can restore those records. Okay. You can restore those records. Otherwise, these records will automatically gets deleted after 30 days of the deletion date. Okay. At least you will have access to your records at least for 30 days. So that whenever you feel you did by mistake, whenever you feel you did there is some problem happened and unknowingly you click on delete button, at least if you use the general delete, you will have the concept of restoring. But if you use the hard delete, the records will not come to recycle bin, directly they will delete from the database completely and without restoring. Okay, at any point of time, we'll not get that information from anywhere. Even Salesforce will never help us. If we lose the data, that's your problem. We can't do anything because you itself opted for the hard delete. Okay, so that's the reason we don't never go with the hard delete. We don't use that option itself. So if we take off hard delete option, the rest of the options are same. Insert, update, upsert, delete. These four operations we have seen as part of the data import. And export all, I'll explain in the tomorrow's class about these two operations. So whatever the things that we do with the data loader, the same things we can achieve with the data Salesforce inspector also, except the hard delete. And the hard delete is something we never entertain to use it. That's the reason no need to, I mean, Salesforce Chrome inspector is the easiest way of doing the same operations that we do using the data loader. And even data loader also, it doesn't have these things, guys. Okay, it has only the limitation is even for the data loaders, you have to like data import wizard or data loader. Data loader also supports CSV files. Okay, data loader doesn't support the Excel files like a data import wizard. So by comparing all these three things, data Salesforce Inspector is the advanced one which has more facilities and easiest way. If you want to install and work with the data loader, guys, you have to have Java in your system. So whenever you have go to the command prompt, okay, and Java hyphen version, which gives you whether do we have Java in our system or not. In my system, I don't have Java, guys, because to work with the Salesforce, I don't require any Java application. I mean, not Java application. I don't require any Java software to work my Salesforce work. That's the reason I haven't installed it. But if I want to use the Salesforce data loader, the basic criteria is first you need to have the Java software, and then there is a long process to install the data loader. Okay, then only you can perform all these operations. Okay, and it is very difficult, long time taking process for the Salesforce developers to maintain and use this data loader tool. That's the reason they just came up with the advanced things. That is nothing but the Salesforce inspector. It do all the operations that a data loader can do. Okay, it is there from the almost from the last 2 years, guys, 2 to 3 years. So you can simply say, you can just simply remember this picture in your mind, and you can say, I have not been using the data loader from the last 2 years after Salesforce launches the Salesforce inspector, which has the advanced features of data loader. Okay. And for the data import wizard also, you can tell the same thing. I never used the data import wizard, but I have seen one time, and but I feel I can saw some limitations of the data import wizard. Always I use the Salesforce inspector to do my data management operations. And you should be in a position to explain. Then they'll ask you the questions. How do you map your fields? If you want to skip any record, how do you, I mean, if you want to skip any particular field, what you can do with the data inspector. Okay, and what are the different operations that you can do? Like that, a small questions they'll ask you. Whatever you are seeing it here, the same questions they'll ask in the things. Just to verify whether have you already, have you used it or not? Okay. So my thing is, guys, you can just prepare a sample data like me. I have prepared for account, right? You can also prepare for any account, or you can also prepare for whatever the object that you wish to load the data. Okay. And then try to map the fields. See. Okay. In case of delete operation, guys, whatever the CSV file that you select, if I paste the same CSV file, okay, you are going to display an error message. The field mapping has no ID column. In case of delete operations, you have to map your ID column. That is the mandatory one. No need to map any other columns. Okay. Because we are simply deleting the record. Always the record is going to be deleted by its record ID. Okay. In your delete operation file, you have to have one column that stores that particular record ID. Okay. In Salesforce, each and every record has its own ID. Okay. Whenever we want to delete operation, you have to have the ID column. Okay. Depending on that ID column itself, it will delete the data. Okay. So in your Excel file, you have to have one more extra column, and you have to manage IDs. Okay. I just given only for one guys. Let me download as, okay, CSV, because previously we have copied the Excel file, right? This time I'm going to download the CSV file and Control A, Control C. Let me paste this data for delete operation. So, okay. So field mapping, ID is present, so it doesn't display. It looks for the ID column. Okay, then it automatically maps that column, ID column. Okay, let me just skip all other columns because I don't want to store anything. I just want to delete the stuff. So whenever I click on skip, automatically two underscores gets added here. And let me perform the operation, delete operation. Okay. See, whatever the thing ID I mentioned, it deleted successfully. Rest of the records, it is looking for the ID, but it doesn't have the ID. It displays the error records. This is the where I told you. This is just a 4, right? So you can easily identify what is success and what is failed. But in case of many records, these filter conditions helps a lot. Okay. So the same thing for update operation also, the ID is something that you have to provide so that it will update that particular ID records. And upsert operations, ID is, here also a field that you have to select, and most probably we will use always ID fields only, guys. For update and upsert, we use ID fields only. So what it will do is, in case of upsert, it will check for the ID, okay, and it will update it. Okay, let me try to perform upsert operation here. Status is status. Let me, account number is account number. Okay. So whatever the IDs are present, it will just update it. In case it doesn't find the ID, it will create it. So in these two cases, first first record will get updated, and the rest of the three records will get created. Click on import. See. and it is trying to update it, guys, but already we have deleted this record. That's the reason it is saying that entity is deleted, and rest of the three records gets updated. We haven't enabled the duplicate rules, guys. That's the reason we were able to create same number of same type of records. But basically in the real time, we will just write some duplicate rules. That means account number should be unique. Such kind of validation rules we will write. So that whenever you try to insert the same account with the same account number, it will fire an validation rule and it will throw the error message here. Right now it is not throwing any errors. I'm able to keep on insert the same kind of data because I don't have any validations. Okay. So that is the basic of four operations: insert, update, upsert, and delete. And make sure that you read all the, like, what are the different tools, but you practice how this tool works. Okay. Salesforce Inspector. That's it for today, guys. Tomorrow I'll explain about the export operation, how data export we can do. Any questions on this?